Yo, 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 yo. What's up, all you burners, stoners, and potheads, and especially all you gardeners out there? This is the Weedman 420 Chronicles Grow Hour, hosted by Mr. Weedman and my friend Big Earl. What's up, Big Earl? How you doing, brother?
Hey, man. How are you? I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Getting ready to get baked with you and our special guest for our Burping in the Bag episode, Nick from Magic Beans. What's up, brother? How you doing? Welcome back to the show.
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me again, man.
Thanks for coming out and being a part of Burping in the Bag. I know you were a little sick this week, but I'm glad you're feeling better to make it to the show. Welcome back, man. Welcome back.
Thanks, dude.
We're going to smoke, right? We're about to smoke. We're going to smoke. I need to
Dude,
get
I haven't
normal.
even
I need to
prepared.
get fucking baked.
I gotta grab my shit.
He got a little stony baloney before we started, so it was even better. So
Yeah,
I'm smoking some Jack Herrera. What are you smoking there, Big Earl?
I threw the Nightmare OG in.
Dude, I smoked that last night.
Top cookies cross. I love it. That's gonna be my first fem cross, bro. I already told myself.
We smoked that last night on the recording. Last night, the Nightmare OG. I fucking love that shit. It's fucking fire. Not as my favorite as that the peanut butter breath, but Nightmare OG is fucking fire.
Seeds are looking super nice. That peanut butter breath. I hit one branch with the Uncle John's Packy headband. I think the structure of the cross is gonna be really terrible, but the flavor is going to be so much.
Wait, did you just say Uncle John's band Packy headband?
Yeah, it's an Uncle Loom's cross with a Packy. Bruh, I don't know where it's gonna go. We're gonna figure it out though.
Well, I made the Uncle John's band.
Yeah, it's from CSI. It's Uncle Loom's headband, which the Loom's headband I first found with you. Cross to Packy OG, maybe.
Okay, from CSI.
It's you know how I'm gonna get it wrong now. The Pirates.
I'm confused as shit right now.
That sub company, the Pirates of the Emerald Pirates or something like that. It was from them. So I don't know if it's actually CSI themselves, but I was told that they were affiliated.
I wonder if someone that sounds like not really likely that someone would come up with an Uncle John's headband.
Yeah.
After I did. So maybe it's
Uncle Loom's.
Somebody.
Uncle Loom's Packy headband.
Uncle Loom's headband.
Yeah.
That's what they called it?
Uncle Loom's Packy headband, yeah.
Okay, I thought you said Uncle John.
I have the pack downstairs. I'll send you a picture of it.
Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Love it. What are you smoking on there, Nick?
Right now, I am packing up Great Pyramid, which is Triangle Kush cross to Dogwalker. Or, Dire Wolf, which is Dogwalker to Starkiller.
Man.
Yeah.
And this is your mix, blend, breed? Nice.
Yeah. So, One Eye made Dogwalker, which is Chem 4 cross to a hermed, and it's pretty crazy. It's crossed to a hermed female Afghani that was Albert Walker. That's why you get the Chemdog 4 with the Albert Walker. That's how he crossed the names. Have you guys ever smoked Dogwalker?
No.
It's not a lot of people have gotten to. It's one of my top 5 strains to ever smoke, for real. So I know we were going to talk about Chemdogs in general and like OGs and stuff tonight a little bit, and this is actually kind of a good way to start.
Yeah, let's go into these legendary strains, man. Let's do it.
All right,
talk about it.
So most people know that Chemdog came from a Grateful Dead tour, Grateful Dead parking lot, basically, in 1991. That's why you have the Chem 91. That's what they call it. It was people even know what the show is. It was at Deer Creek 91. It came from some weed that was grown in Oregon back in, the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, that was called Dog Bud at the time. And this dude, Greg, who is now literally called Chemdog, pretty much online and on Instagram and all that stuff. He's a glass blower in New York. He was 17 years old when he was at this show, this Deer Creek 91 Grateful Dead show. He bought some weed there, and I'm gonna tell the story as much as I know it. It's kind of a telephone thing. But he was 17 years old, and he found seeds out of this dank ass weed called Dog Bud that was grown in Oregon. And he popped some of them and kept them around for fucking 30 years.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, we have Chem 91, we have Chem 4, we have Chem D. There's rumors that there's like Chem 3 and Chem 1 out there, but there's Chem Cis also, but like from off the top of my head and all that I know, this 17-year-old dude back in 1991 popped these seeds and kept these plants around for decades, and later popped I think there was like 13 seeds he originally had, and popped more down the road years later. There's a whole story behind it. I don't have it all. I'm not going to explain it. I don't know it. But I've been to a lot of fucking dead and fish shows, and I know what the culture's like, and like I remember like seeing weed back then that was different than you'd ever seen ever. Like you heard the term kind bud, and like that pretty much originated from Grateful Dead lot. I mean, if you ask me. But so where am I going with this? So yeah, he kept these strains around, and tying this all back to what I have going on. One Eye is this awesome dude out in Oregon that I met a couple times, and we talk here and there. He created the dog walker with the Chem 4 that was found by Greg Chemdog, the dude who found all this shit. And he crossed it with he was experimenting it apparently, because I don't see why you would use herming pollen from a female, but he did. So he I think he had like 4 or 5 cuts that he found that were stable that he could use, and one of them was Dog Walker, and everyone fucking loves it. Me being one of the biggest fans. I've smoked Chem D, I've smoked Chem 91, I've smoked all the Chem Dog, I love Dog Walker. Like it's still to me.
Is it like the other chem? Is it like the chems? Are they all really similar?
It's like them, but better.
Yeah.
It's like loud. It's louder. I'm a terpene guy. I love flavor. That's what I breed for, or that's what I've usually bred for in the past, is flavor. I have a lot of different goals with breeding, but flavor is pretty much number one. Yeah. I mean, I want this to taste fucking good, dude. Like,
yeah,
like OG Kush, and it doesn't come down to numbers. Like I've been smoking OG Kush, since I was 18 years old, and it's still some of my favorite. It's still probably my favorite, besides Skunk Gone, but I don't talk about that.
I love OG Kush, but I love just Kush strains in general.
Me too. Just, but my point is, they test low. So I'm not trying to breed in terms of THC levels. Like, I'm not trying to breed for 25, 30% strains. I think it's ridiculous. Like, Purple Punch is 32 or 4%, and it tastes like nothing. And it looks great, but like, I'd rather, and it doesn't really get you as high as OG Kush does at 18%, in my opinion.
Wait, hold on. Before you move on, I've been, and you can ask Big Earl this, I've been saying that for about 3 years now, and I've said it on shows. I've gotten higher on a 18 16,
Absolutely.
20% strain than I've gotten high off of a 33 or
Because of the
35% strain.
terpenes.
Yeah.
It's because of the terpenes.
One of the hardest
100%.
hitters in my
Yep.
garden is the glue, and it tested 18%. And it knocks.
Yeah, I mean, a lot. Glue's great. I got some glue crosses to Star Killer that I think are like awesome, and but it's like you said, the effect. Like I've passed out on a joint of smoking Gorilla Glue before because it's so indica heavy, or at least that's the way my body reacts to it. Everyone's different.
Me too.
But like Gorilla Glue is heavy indica for me. Like I'm just done.
Yeah.
I don't love the flavor, but that's why I crossed it to Star Killer. I'm getting gassier crosses.
Yeah.
Because to me, Gorilla Glue is kind of like hashy. It's like hashy chocolate. It's like, which is great, but it's not what I really want to smoke. So, and that's just. But here's the other thing: is like everyone's palate's different.
True.
I can't tell you how many times someone's been like, "Hey, bro, you smell how gassy this is, or you taste how gassy this is, and it smells like fucking strawberries to me." And I'm like, "Nah, dude." And then, I'm like, "Okay, I have the gassiest shit in the world right here, TK or whatever." And I'm passing it to this dude. I'm like, "Hey, dude, you smell this gas?" Who 20 other?
Let me stop you right real quick. Let me explain gas. Because Mrs. Weedman has been asking,
difficult.
like, she goes, "I think this is gassy." Explain the gas term.
So that's difficult because, like, it's a really good question. So it's hard to do because it's not gasoline. It doesn't smell like you spilled gasoline on you. And at least this is so subjective, obviously, because we were just talking about how palates interpret things differently.
Right.
Like there's some of my friends that I will be like, "Hey, smell how gassy this is." And they'll be like, "I smell pineapples." But other times I'm like, "Do you smell the berries in this?" And they're like, "Yeah." So like, man.
So real quick. So gas means the smell.
Olfactory.
Like
it's really hard to like break it down of like how each brain and like nose interprets weed, or no,
right, 100%.
Smells.
Yes.
In general. So like, okay, so going back to the gas, to me, it's more like, oh man, it's really hard to describe. It's like a mixture of a little bit of gas, but more like a little bit of skunk and a little bit of like
Funk.
But you can't really describe what that funk is. And people say when they talk about OGs and stuff and they say earthy, I never want to describe earthy in my shit. Like earthy is like me smoking on a piece of fucking grass. I don't want to taste that. That's what earthy or like dirt.
Earthy to me is not dried right.
Yeah, or it's like chlorophyll.
Earthy to me is usually not dried right.
Like, so I agree with that. So like it's more of like I want to smoke something that's gonna be pungent. I mean, that's like the biggest word I can use. But
pungent, loud. The word loud comes out. The word loud is big now. Everyone uses the word loud. Word. Gas. Yeah. Right. So what I'm trying to get at here is gas. It's not describing gasoline because Mrs. Weeman talks about gas, and I'm like, no, it's not gasoline. It's the smell. It's gas is the potency.
I think
of
it's
that
more
smell.
of the attraction to the smell of gasoline for people who like that smell because I'm one of those people, and I know there's
100%.
I'll pump my gas and be like, this smells amazing. Like I'm not gonna huff the shit, but there is an attraction to that smell. Yeah. So, but in my best description that I've always tried to come up with for OG Kush, which is my favorite fucking plant ever, besides skunk, which is gone, but other topic. OG Kush, it's a perfume, of its own, and it might have maybe people like because every OG Kush cut, TK, like Ghost, every Larry, all of them are gassy. They're considered gassy, every single one of them. But they have other properties to them that I think the reason why they're considered gassy is because they're so attractive, and they're similar to gasoline smell, but they're not even fucking. I mean, no, they're not gas. They don't smell like gas.
It's in like when the gas smell can be so many different ways, from like pulling up to a
It's
gas
like a sweet
station
gas.
to,
It's like if you
yeah.
like if you like created a like I still think perfume is the best way to describe OG Kush because it's its own thing. Like you can't, like you can say sativas smell, like a lot of people say there's like 4 or 5 really big descriptions of sativas, and it's bubblegum, which that's not even the first one. To me, it's like pine sol. If I'm smelling like a triangle, train wreck, Durban Kush, Durban Poison, Jack Herrera, they're all the same smell.
And a lot of those, because I'm smoking Jack Herrera right now, a lot of those strains have a lot of A and B pining in it, which gives you that pine salt smell. Or as I explained it, you're walking into a forest with a bunch of pine trees. That's A and B pining. If you never smelled it from a strain of weed, what it is you go out to a forest with a lot of pine trees and you're smelling A and B pining.
100%.
And it's waking you up.
100%. And then there's people that say that, and this is where things get really crossed and mixed up, is like there's a lot of people that with different palates or different noses say that, oh, this OG cut is super piney. And I'm like, I've never had a piney OG fucking Kush plant ever. Like what?
Right.
No, that's like, no, it's no. So
do you think any of that could be how they garden it too? Sometimes I know sometimes I'll get a certain gardener's cannabis and it just all tastes kind of the same. No.
Yeah. Okay. I hear on that. I've experienced that and seen that, but it's mostly like I wouldn't say it would take a sativa smelling or a sativa tasting and smelling plant into like a cookies. Like there's no way that's gonna transfer that like vast of a range. Like it. So I don't know. Like, man, I feel like the flavors and the smells really tell you what's going on genetically for the most part. And when I say that, I mean like, when you smell a pine sol or what someone else may describe as bubblegum, we didn't go over that. So pine sol, bubblegum, what else is there? That's like the typical sativa. There's the copper, which is, more so like the cough. I don't know. Cough is like really rare. It's kind of
strawberry cough.
No, Fort Collins cough, which is a plant that I really miss. But yeah, like I don't know. Anyways, I went to school in Fort Collins and college in Fort Collins in 2001 or 2000, and the cough was there back then, and like it's kind of been really hard to find, or it's either been really like closely held.
I hear that a lot. I have a couple of friends that have been looking for that cut or that even.
I wish I had her, man. Yeah. She's fucking amazing. Like you'll smoke her, and everyone around you's like, "Who lit the incense?" Like it smells like frankincense.
Yeah.
Like it's and it tastes phenomenal. Like it doesn't smell like weed at all. It was one of my favorites.
What do you think? So we're looking. Say like I'm like, hey, I really want something that's close to that Chemdog. What do you have? Because I bet you have something, in the repertoire. What would we be asking from you, or like maybe an OG Kush or something too?
Okay, so I have fuck. This is such a difficult question to answer. I should honestly probably look at really right now. I should probably look. Okay, so Right now, I have first of all, I have a shitload of Afghanis, which is a different topic. So whatever. But I have like cookies crossed to. Okay, for example, I have this Abbey Lane, which is like kind of my favorite pick right now. It's key lime pie cookies, which is one of the original cookie cuts, crossed to a sour 78, which I don't even fucking understand what that is. Crossed to dog. And the reason why I'm telling you this is I got this from a breeder. I got these seeds from a breeder, Osiris Genetics, and he had this this line of this Pakistani crosses, and this male that I found that he had was a sour 78 crossed to Dog Walker OG crossed to a Pakistani, and that's what that's the land race trajectory I'm going for, at least with this one. And I was stoked as fuck to find this male. Like, I found a gangster ass male. And so Abbey Lane is key lime pie to sour 78 cross to Dog Walker to Pakistani. That is like my number one right now.
Now hold on. Explain newbie growers. Think about this. Explain like you have 4 crosses. 4, right? You said?
Yeah, this is kind of complicated.
How do you cross 4 strains?
I mean, it's not complicated. It's not complicated, actually. So
to you, but to newbie, well, no, I want to know.
You're right, and I will simplify this absolutely. So, key lime pie is the mother. That's I got a key lime pie plant, right? Cookies.
How is she? That. I've never grown that. How did you like her? How is she?
One of my favorite plants ever. Yeah. Period. Like top 5. Period.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure.
So real quick, key lime pie cookies. It's the same plant, or you cross those two.
Key lime pie is a cut of the original first cookies cuts that were released to the public.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that was the mother. The father is all of these combined. A plant that was called Sour 78, which means, and I've talked to him a little bit, it was a sour cut found in 1978, like similar to Sour Diesel. That he crossed with Dog Walker Femme, I believe. There's no way Femme. So he took a sour 78, crossed a Dog Walker, so he's got that plant, right? He takes that and he crosses it with an Afghani that is he calls, it's Pakistani, but it's from Afghanistan. So it's an Afghani. Right?
Okay.
So his male was just basically what I just said. Sour 78, Dog Walker to a Pakistani. I took those seeds and I found a male. And I crossed it to the key lime pie.
So he crossed it with 3 different strains, and you crossed it with your key lime pie. So basically, it's 4 crosses, but it didn't happen with just taking a bunch of pollen and throwing it on one plant, taking a bunch of pollen. It came from seed to seed, from strain to strain to seed to your cut, your male to your female,
from seed to shining seed,
and you birthed out the new line.
Yeah.
Do you remember what?
It makes sense to me because it makes sense now the way you explained it to a stupid stoner like me, burner like me, because you just explained it. I wasn't getting. I always see cross. Well,
right.
I know. Sometimes you see in a pack 4 crosses on a pack. You're like, how the fuck do you get 4 crosses on a pack? How many plants are having sex?
Right. So here's another really good thing for people to just know in general when they're reading what they're reading is the male is always the last. So if I say key lime pie cross to blah, 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 the blah, blah, blah is the male.
Fucking A. Finally, I understand.
Yeah, actually that helps a lot. Like,
That is,
it helps a lot.
it does help a lot.
So the female is
It's
always
always
on top. The male is always on the
should
bottom.
be, unless it's
Oh,
a reversal, unless it's feminized.
Then it's a
Usually,
cowboy style. Is that
usually
you're
it's
telling me?
well, then usually the female's second because she's the donor. She's the pollen donor. It's usually the
Gotcha.
pollen donor second. Is what I'm
Okay.
trying to
All
say.
right. That makes so much sense to me now. I got it. Cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Are people misrepresenting these cuts and these strains out there in the world? Are people just over fucking population and pollinating? What are you feeling out there? What are you seeing?
100%. Especially as the market grows and the breeders grow, and like, yeah, I mean, I've actually it's been a shit show. I've gone through like 6 different cuts to find the real sour diesel. Luckily, I'm plugged into a really awesome circle that I am confident with, and most of the cuts are verified, if not all of them. Every once in a while, I'll go out on a limb and try and find something that I'm looking for, and it's just not even worth it anymore because. So yeah, it's saturated with shit. Is to answer your question because.
So, do you have an inner circle? Do you have an inner circle of people you trust that you know
Absolutely.
you can get good genetics from?
Absolutely, 100%.
I hunt old seeds, dude, more than cuts because I can't trust any of the cuts. So I always just look for old seeds. I'm like, I'm just going to try to find something in these old seeds.
Well, hit me up, dude. Seriously, because like if you want the real ChemD, you want like real OG Kush, like real sour, like the list goes on. But the thing is
you just don't have the skunk yet. That's when you and I will be talking. I want that skunk.
That's when we'll be talking. I'm ducking my head over here. I'm like, I'm not talking about this shit, man. But yeah,
we work with the diesel then.
Yeah, I'm definitely working diesel, OG, chem, but like I'm still like I'm branching out because I that's everyone else is doing this shit too. Like I'm dude, okay. Everyone is bottlenecking the gene pool right now. Not everyone. Not everyone. I shouldn't say that, but a lot of people. Like everyone's inbreeding cookies, OGs, chems, blah blah blah, and I'm kind of doing the same thing, and I don't want to fucking do it anymore, and because it's bottlenecking the gene pool, and well, I shouldn't say I'm still doing that because I'm really not. I'm working with the land races is where it's at right now because that just like
it's so hard.
It takes things into a different direction. But I'm also like looking into like crossing like the most random pick you would ever pick, like something that sounds like it would be disgusting to work together. Like I'm trying to put it like, so let's say like Tangy and meat breath or peanut butter breath. You brought up peanut butter breath. Tangy and peanut butter
good.
But can you imagine crossing it with Tangy? It could be great. It could be disgusting. It could be average. It couldn't be it could be nothing special. But like that's what, so sour Tangy, that was an epic cross that DNA came up with because they were like so opposite with sour diesel and Tangy. And they came up with something good. Like I fucking love sour Tangy. But like my point is like there's experimental projects that breeders are about to get in on, I think, because at this point everyone's doing the same shit. And it's fucking boring, dude. Like
Everybody gets the same clones. They do the same femmes. They cross the same. They have a different male, but it's the exact same girls they're putting them to. Like, and it's yeah.
I mean, I understand breeders working their gear, like going F2, F3, F4, F5, F6. BX to a million. I'm actually a BX guy. I'm not into F2ing or 3ing anymore. It's just not my. I'm trying to replicate the mother in seed form. So when I F2 or I shouldn't say F2, but when I go past like an F3 or F4, you're kind of in la la land in terms of if you're trying to replicate your mother, because replicating your mother is just finding a good male every time and going back and back and back because you want it to taste and smell and be the same effect as mom.
Yeah.
But if you keep effing, literally, you can drift off into a different space of flavors and not get back to where you wanted to go originally with mom. So, you know, a lot of breeders might disagree with me on that. I don't see how they could, though. You know, it's like I think BXing is way more important than making F generations.
Yeah. F2 to me is almost about preservation, where BXing is about improving. Like when you BX.
Totally. Well, the other crazy thing about F2ing is that that's when your most recessives come out. So if you're going to F2, you better make a lot of seeds.
Yeah.
If you're trying to preserve what you're going for. Otherwise, honestly, if you're talking about preservation, I'd preserve the F3s. Because the F2s, like I said, you're going to have recessives. You're going to have, dude, I had my Magic OGs. It was OG Kush, Cross the Star Killer, and I grew 50 of them in a room, and I had 3 of them grow like 15 fucking feet tall, dude. And they looked like land races, like straight, and they smelled like what we were talking about, the sativa pine sol earlier. And I was like, OG Kush doing this? What the fuck? 15 feet tall, dude, inside. I've never seen anything like it. And that was an F1. So my point is, actually, like, really, like, I think OG Kush is definitely a land race cross.
Yeah.
Originally, you know, and you know, a lot of people have figured out the exact genetics. Origins TK, buddy of mine on Instagram, he was part of the original crew that found OG Kush, the Triangle Kush specifically, and you know, they talk about it being a Hindu Kush. How
where the Kush where the Kush originated from, Himalayan mountains. You know, that's where it all came from. And did someone I read someone brought that over in the 70s, like 74 to California, and that's where it all got started. Is that true?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember the guy's name. I wish it was early on in the beginning episodes of the Chronicles. We talked about the history of Kush and how this person went over to the Himalayan mountains and brought back to Northern California and started growing the Kush there.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the story, but you know, there's a good like circle of people that had the OG Kush, the Triangle Kush. What's now considered Ghost was the OG back in the 90s. That was apparently a male that was taken from Amsterdam Hindu Kush seeds to Florida and crossed to a cut called Emerald or something like that. I think it was called the Emerald, I think. Anyways, I'm not a historian on it, but it's all pretty accurate. I mean, that's how it happened. So, yeah, I mean, like that's what my focus is on right now, or has been. And you know, actually, I'm kind of working on new goals in terms of breeding because I just, like I said, like everyone's kind of doing the same thing, and I the gene pool is being bottlenecked, and I want to bring in new things.
How do we preserve the old things though? The cuts and the strains that people really admire, like the one besides skunk. Sorry, but I'm just messing with you. But how do you preserve some of the ones that I always admire?
They're already preserved, man. I mean, they really are. I mean, they're in seed form at this point. I think
there's people. Is there enough seeds out there to make them last? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I think so.
You can find them even in crosses, even when it's like.
Right. But you know, 3/4 of them even are fake. So like, you got to know who to go through, who to buy from, who to trust. who to follow, see what they've been doing. There's a shitload of awesome breeders out there, and but there's way more shittier ones. So, you just got to sift through the bullshit.
Right.
Honestly.
And this is why another reason why we started this show was to make sure that people knew who you can trust, who you can buy from, who's not misrepresenting the breeders in general. A lot of you that have been breeding now, you've been breeding for what, over 10 years or 10 years, you said?
About 11, I think 11 now.
11 now.
What year is
Most
it?
of you all have been breeding. You've had breeders that have been breeding for 20, 30 years, and some of you that have been breeding for 10.
A lot of these guys. I mean, yeah, dude. Bodie's
Right.
probably been breeding for 30 years. I mean,
right. And now they're able to, if they want, be able to make some true money on this and share their lineage with newbie growers like myself that just want to grow some good weed at home, my own medicine. So it's great. But then you have people that started newbie growing like myself, and then seeing all these breeders breeding on social media and going, I could do that, and they just breed the shit out of stuff and just to make a quick buck. That's what I'm seeing out there.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's with any market, there's gonna be phonies, and with this one, you have a shitload because there's a lot of stoners sitting at home, with nothing to do and bullshitting. Like it's kind of ridiculous. Like, I'm on this like whole AI kick right now that we were talking about earlier, and like it's it's kind of like, it's weird. It's kind, I don't know why I'm comparing this, but well, yeah, I do, because so when breeding it was like breeding had this like wave of like popularity, and I kind of feel like it's died down, but only because it's at its like peak. Like with AI and like this chat GPT and like learning about how to utilize AI for your company or whatever it could be for your daily life or whatever the fuck it is, just for education. There's this like rush to master it and to learn the most you can about it. And I feel like the rush with breeding is kind of over, but I think AI is going to actually have a big role in cannabis growing, like in specifically gardens. You already have like, what is it? Arroya is a big company. Mango Tech with the Troll Masters. All this stuff is going to be implemented into artificial intelligence very fucking soon. And already growers are obsessed with automated grows. Like, no one wants to go in and deal with their garden every day, but like now they're like artificial intelligence is going to take it to an entirely new level because people don't even have to pay attention anymore.
Yeah, there's already kind of some AI stuff out there, like like water sensors and stuff that you can put in your pots, and it like reads the moisture, and you just don't do shit.
It'll pH your water. It'll do everything, and this is coming very fast. It's gonna come very soon.
And like defoliate and make a delicious selection.
Absolutely, dude. Like,
you boys will never have to trim weed ever again.
Oh my goodness!
You'll never have to trim ever again. You just have an automatic AI just sitting in your trimming. Trim these 200 pounds of weed for me, please.
I'm saying, like,
it's gonna be me until then.
It's gonna be nuts, and it's gonna happen fucking fast, dude. Really fast. And I'm excited for it, but like, I'm like thinking of like how I can like make money off this. Like, I'm like, because it's like this is gonna happen so fast. Like, nobody's even prepared for any of this shit at all. Like, I'm every day I'm down this huge rabbit hole right now with AI. Like, huge. Like, I spend 2 hours a day watching videos every day, and I get overwhelmed more and more and more. And so I'm like, fuck, how am I gonna, like, how can anybody keep up with this and like be successful off it in any sort of way? Because it's that fast moving where you just like you're like grabbing onto a wave. It's like you're surfing a fucking wave. It's crazy. But
It's
yeah,
interesting.
I'm
I do see a lot of people using the graphics and stuff like that. It's kind of cool. So, what strains are you working on right now? Anything interesting?
so yes. Actually, in the room right now is I have Dogma male. So that is GMO garlic cookies crossed to my dire wolf, which is dog walker to star killer.
Nice. What
And
made you choose that male? Did
good
you like the
question.
smell and the structure and stuff on him?
Both, and mostly that he was his leaf structure mostly looked like GMO, which was the mother that I was trying to back cross. So, and I'll get into that in a second because GMO sucks to grow. She's lanky, she's tall, she stretches, she takes a lot more food. So, anyways, I chose this male based off of those things in mind, and he was super squatty with the same leaf structure, exact same stem rub as GMO. And so I was just like, this is the one. Like I picked him out of 40 males. Like he was the one. Like he stood out over everything. Took him and I pollinated Dogma as well. So I made an F2. So, same GMO to direwolf. Then other mothers were Scooby Snacks, One Eye Cut, which we talked about One Eye earlier making the dog walker, and he made the Scooby Snacks, and that's like a super fucking rare, awesome cut. Really special. Yields like a motherfucker. She's just awesome. And then Great Pyramid, which I said earlier too, Triangle Kush to Direwolf. A grape Afghani that I found. So it was an Afghani plant, but it smelled like straight grapes. It was like super frosty as fuck. Super excited for that cross. Let's see what else. GMO root beer. So that's a GMO BX right there already. And then there
What is that?
was
You know the history on that at all? People say all different stuff about what the root beer GMO is.
I can't honestly. I got it from a buddy that he found out of a seed pack that he loved, and I grew it before. I loved it. It's really nice. It's different. It's not like it's really hard to describe. Like it is kind of root beery. Like it's like it's weird. It's not GMO. It's not like GMO.
Okay.
Like GMO really is fucking garlic and fucking onions and like it really is like weird. But you got to take it to 12 weeks, like period. If you want that shit, you gotta flower out. And same with my Dogma. Like at least the cut that I have, you gotta go 12 weeks. Anyway, so the last plant in there was Sour Diesel that I got from I'm gonna forget his name on Instagram already. I can't remember, but it's the real deal. So, in which like I said earlier, I've gone through 5 or 6 cuts before I found the real one. It took me like 6 years to get the real Sour Diesel, because I knew what it was. I've had it. Started smoking it in like 96, at fish shows and shit. So I knew what it was, but I hadn't seen it in real form since until recently. At least grown it, I should say. I've smoked it, but it's hard to find some of these real cuts. It really is.
How long you said something about the Chem D cut. Now, did he just have seeds for 30 years, or did he have a plant that he kept alive for a long
He had a
time?
fucking plant, bro, at 17. I think he popped like 4 or 5 in 91 and at 17 years old and passed cuts around in his circle very small, I would imagine. And yeah, man, they held on at least, or at least they made S1s. We don't really, no one really knows, I mean, they could have made S1s, which means they could have, reversed that plant to make more seeds to hold on to preserve the genetic. But it sounds to me, I mean, honestly, I really think they truly kept the cuts around. That's my
Gotcha. Yeah, I've heard people having plants last a long time, but I never realized that you can keep a cannabis plant for 30 years
absolutely.
alive.
Absolutely. The best
That's
plants,
amazing.
the best plants are those.
Love it. Now, indoor or outdoor, I think outdoor, would the plant last longer, or indoor because you can keep it every temperature and every way you want? If you grew it outdoor, would it just grow like a tree and live for 100 years?
No,
No,
it would
flowers
die
automatically. Unless you had some supplemental lighting, I guess.
Right.
It would die in the winter.
Yeah.
However, like, going off of that question, like plants really truly prefer the sun. So like during ideal times, summertime, spring, summertime, I prefer to have my plants outside, just because they love it, and they actually kind of regenerate a bit, even like especially older cuts. If I'm growing Triangle Kush for inside for a year, and summer comes up and I bring her outside, I'm gonna get some really nice clones off of her in a few weeks. Yeah, like she responds really well.
Everybody out there in the world, that was a big tip right there.
Definitely.
Made Big Earl go. I saw the light bulb go up and hit Big Earl's head. I saw the light bulb go boop.
So if it's summertime, take your plants outside. Leave them outside, and not leave them outside. Bring them outside for at least all the sun they can get. Because they will absolutely respond to that shit like a fucking crazy. But in general, like, over the time, like growing inside, your plants, your genetics are gonna, they're gonna not like it so much after a few years, So that's why I recommend bringing them outside every spring and summer and just letting them hang out.
Get that true
the best
light.
weed I've ever grown was greenhouse, period. And that's when and that was in Oregon, and we didn't even have shit for like air circulation. Like, I mean, we were okay. We had fans and stuff, but like, dude, it would get to 120 degrees in there. 120 degrees. It was the best weed I've ever smoked. Ever. So it just tells you the sun is forgiving, it's just what I've experienced before. Yeah.
Sweet.
Greenhouse is awesome.
Let's talk about the great state of Missouri and what they've accomplished since you're from that state. So congratulations on going rec. 196 medical dispensaries in one day flipped to med rec. Totally did over $100 million in February, which is one of the slowest months of the year for sales in general. Crushed it. Out-of-state sales I haven't seen the out-of-state sales from that, but you got to think now that all you Missourians were coming over to this side for rec because you didn't have it over there, and to the Illinois side, but said, fuck you, we're missing out on tax dollars, and we're missing out on having our own rec and generating more income. But I feel that you all did it right compared to Illinois. And here's what you did right. And then you can elaborate all you want. You did it right by your taxes at only 15% for sales tax. Your cannabis eighths are cheaper than anything I've seen outside of Michigan right now. Because in Illinois, they're 50, unless they're on sale, but $50, $55 has been the average for 2 years now, over 2 years now. You had already 196 dispensaries already lined up, to where Illinois, when they went rec, only had 80. 75, and we still don't even have more than 120, and we've been wrecked now for 2 years. You're taking away the tax dollars from Illinois, which I like because our taxes are ridiculous here. But now you're getting these states around you coming into your state, and I think people from Illinois, the border, will start going more to Missouri to pick up weed, or if they work in St. Louis, buy weed there because there's 76 friggin' dispensaries in St. Louis and the St. Louis proper. So how do you feel about what your state has done in the first month of sales and what you see? And I know we've talked here and there in the last episode about trying to get a license and it's a pain in the ass and shit like that. But overall, besides that, your state did very well the first month.
Well, I appreciate the optimism, and I'm not optimistic, but so okay, yeah, like there are a lot of great things, that you mentioned, and yes, I have friends actually that like have been going to Illinois to buy their weed from dispensaries from Missouri that have praised the change and have been, spending their money here. It's just really hard as someone who came from such liberal states in terms of allowing the average citizen to have a chance at getting a license and having a grow have a chance. There's no chance here. And I realize your perspective being from Illinois, but Illinois' perspective is so much different than Oregon.
Yeah, but we're all MSOs here. Don't forget, until just this year when they finally released the social equity licenses and stuff like that, we were 95% vertically integrated MSO owned this state. Until just now, some independents are finally starting to show back up, craft cultivation, yada, yada. This state in general, though, the last 3 years has been total garbage when it came to just the corporations that own the weed and weren't letting anybody else in. So
yeah, I can't even imagine. And well, so from like, there's a lot of people talking about rumors and all this shit now that, Missouri is, they're talking about letting out. Okay. So I was going to apply for like 5. Okay. They're allowing micro grow applications and, they're allowing, I think, as many as you want. You pay them. First of all, let me back up. Years ago, when they were accepting applications, it was like a lottery system, and you paid them money, and there was no refund. If you pay the money, you either get it or you don't, and see you later. Like
same in Illinois.
Okay, so that's fucked. You understand that? Now they're proposing that this new system where you can apply. And it's like $2,500 per license. You can get you can apply for as many licenses as you want, but it's fully refundable. So if you don't get it, you get your refund back, which is fucking awesome. Clearly awesome, But from what I've heard in the last week, from like kind of through the grapevine, is that they're only offering like 30 and they're all gone already. Like they've already been chosen and they haven't even like taken the money yet. So it's like, I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't believe everything I hear clear. I really don't, but my faith in the system is not high. It's not good. Only because of the past and what I've seen. So like that's the reason why I'm really focused on Magick Beans and Greenfin. And like, I'm not going to talk about Greenfin, but that is my like huge main focus right now. Is I'm pretty much 8 hours a day on Greenfin right now, dude. Like, because I know that it's a bigger avenue of people to sell to, and that growers are always going to have a demand for a good product to put on their plant. Seeds only go so far, and in terms of being able to make sales, So I'm trying to reach out to the cannabis market, but also the agricultural market. And then I'm looking at like reaching out to fucking baseball stadiums and golf courses, like we're really going to take Greenfin far, hopefully this year. But my point is like, there's not a lot of money to be made in some of these other avenues because there's so much competition going on. And, unless you're like super, super unique or already like highly established, you are just like, you're treading water,
Right. So is home grow legal in Missouri?
Yes.
How many
Just
plants?
legal this year. I think it's 6 per house.
6?
Mhm.
Sweet. There's 5 here in Illinois, but you can only do it if you have your med card. They didn't let any. You have to have a med card to be able to grow here in Illinois.
Yeah, you don't even need a
lot of
card.
people are fighting for that.
Yeah, and they should. I mean, it's stupid. Actually, St. Louis City. So I don't live in St. Louis. Like, I don't live in the fucking city. It's not. When I say that, I live like 20 minutes outside, like in the suburbs. So it's actually really different here legally. Well, it was until it became rec, which was a month ago, or about a month and a half ago. Before, if you lived in the city, like downtown, you can do whatever. I mean, yeah, you could grow. Here, where I live now, you couldn't do that. You had, like you said, you had to have your medical card.
Gotcha.
But now it's across the board. You can grow. And so,
and you still in Missouri still did that much money in sales. So for states to be scared about that home grow takes away from sales, maybe 5%. They would get, even in the craft beer industry, people were pissed off about the home brewers all the time, going, "Oh, they're stealing money from." No, they're not. It's 5% of the people that home brew. 2% maybe might home grow in Missouri. You ain't stealing anybody's money.
That's such a twisted way to look at it anyway. If anything, they're stealing the people's money that should be making this shit at home.
Right. 100%. That's why so many states aren't allowing it.
Yeah.
Because the corporations that are involved in the states and their lobbyists are telling them, don't allow home grow. Don't allow home grow. People shouldn't be able to home grow. Just have them come to us. Filter that money into us.
There's no way for a home grower to sell their shit. Okay, so I'm going to an event on Saturday where it's like a free seed giveaway. We're going to be giving away and selling Greenfin.
What's the event? Tell everybody, what's the event?
Honestly, it's not even an event. It's local. It's my buddy is hosting it, selling or giving away free seeds at a park in downtown St. Louis. But
that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's great. But like, fuck, where was I going with that?
We were talking about home grow.
Yeah, so home growers, they're not going to be. God damn it! No, I can't remember.
Talking about states not allowing home grow versus states that do. Talking about your friend throwing a free giveaway seed party in downtown St. Louis in a park.
States not allowing.
So what happens when you get Stony Baloney.
It's gone, dude. It's gone. We're too deep in this.
Too deep in the fucking AI wormhole you've been all day.
Dude, my brain is fried after today. Holy shit. Yeah, it's not coming back, especially after
everybody
that.
Stay away from AI. Fries your weed doesn't fry your brain. AI fried Nick's brain.
Because it does everything for you now. No, we're really fucked. Like, bye jobs.
That's for a different show. Yeah. But fried Nick's brain, not Earl's. Go around Earl to Nick on the next slide over there.
We should have a like cannabis
poster child
AI episode.
Poster child. This is you on AI.
Oh, I could recreate that with AI, like 1,000 like 30 seconds.
Oh shit! All right, man. Anything else you want to say about Missouri fucking weed?
It sucks. It's not very good. It's going to take a while.
I'm at least proud of the state to be the fastest state to get to rec laws. Most states take a year. Look at New York, fucking disaster. Okay, but Missouri
right.
at least got it on the dock, got it passed, turned it over pretty quick. People can buy weed. I like now recreational and medical can grow home grow. Is it perfect? Is any weed industry right now in the United States perfect? Absolutely not.
Okay,
And that's why you need to allow home grow.
I do
and
have
caregiver programs like Michigan. Caregiver programs like Michigan are so important, and every state should allow a caregiver program for someone to grow medication for them people that they want and be able to work from home, take care of their family through that process, to be able to have 10, 20, 30 clients. Home grow.
Oh, no,
this is where I think where AI needs to kind of change some shit around or whatever. But that's my opinion on it all. But go ahead. I'll let you finish up. And then we're gonna get going.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I don't know, I think we're gonna see a lot of changes in the future with AI and cannabis grows, and home growing, is something that's very important. But all I gotta say is the main problem that we have with Missouri in terms of recreational companies is that it's monopolized, and there's no room for the little man to make any fucking not even to make any money, to even jump into this environment. Like, it's just not going to happen. You need connections and a lot of money, and I think, like I said earlier, I think all these micro grows are pre-chosen, or at least already figured out when they haven't even announced anything yet. I think everything's pre-planned and prepaid for. And that's where I think there's really no room for any little guy to really even enter the market, unfortunately. And it fucking sucks.
Eventually, they'll have more license. That does suck. A lot of states, I think, it sounds like a lot of that kind of stuff happens. But eventually, there's enough license where everybody kind of does at least get a swing at it. But you have to be willing to sit on a large investment for a long amount of time before you can even start recouping a little bit.
Florida was the worst, I think, example of all time. I think there was some guy bought the first and only 9 licenses and sold them for $55 million or some crazy fucking shit.
Jeez.
Yeah, that happened 5 or 6 years ago. And things have changed there, but there's lawsuits now about it being unconstitutional and all this shit. So yeah, it's just shadiness everywhere, and that's why it's not fun to even look at getting into. In a business sense, in trying to make money and creating a brand or whatever you're trying to do. I don't think it's worth it. Most recreational companies are failing, and so fuck would I want to get into that for?
That's true.
And
well, I'm proud of Missouri otherwise, but
I'm talking about across the country. I'm not talking about Missouri. No,
right.
I'm talking about.
No, I agree. I agree with you 100%. The industry, there's a lot of. We can talk about another hour on it. We could talk about another hour on that, but I mean, I feel you. I do. There's been a lot of fucking mistakes, and the people that I've said this 1,000 times, people that have been with cannabis forever are the ones that are getting fucked in the end. So
Absolutely.
we'll end it on.
I do think that we are going to start seeing that that we're on an up a little bit, and that might be a little controversial to a lot of people. But I think that the people who only the very best are surviving right now. And so the people who are growing in this industry, those are the people you got to look at and be like, whoa, these dudes have to be crushing something. Because most people, even really good gardeners and really good everything that have been very good forever, it's so competitive anymore.
Dude, I don't even want to drop names, but last night I was getting emails, or not emails, but DMs on Instagram from homies of mine being like, yeah, these legendary breeders and growers are hitting me up randomly trying to sell me clones. And I'm like, You fucking like I'm talking legendary people here, and I'm like
Yeah.
big dudes. And I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, like they're like trying to make like they're pushing they're hustling as like legends. And I'm like, fuck, okay, this
Back to the
freaks me
grind.
out. Because I'm not even doing that, you know?
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's we'll see where the industry is unfolding constantly, and I don't think it's going to go fed anytime in the next even 5 to 10, maybe 10 years. I don't see it happening.
It went from being 2 years now. Everyone was saying 2 years, 2 years to 5 years, 5 years. Now everyone's back to saying 10 years again. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Who the fuck cares? You can't listen. Right now, in all the states that it's rec, in all the states that it's med, the federal government's letting you do what the fuck you want.
Exactly.
The only way they'll step in, if they're looking for illegal bullshit that's coming cartel wise or whatever. That's what they're looking for right now. You can go on the fucking airport right now with fucking some fucking flour, and they're barely even sniffing that shit anymore.
5 years ago, I flew on fucking United with like 30 cuts, and they saw them. TSA saw all my cuts, and they looked at them, and they looked at me, and I was like, yeah, there's CBD. And they're like, cool. Like,
see you later.
Later.
They don't care anymore unless you're bringing it in illegally from other countries and major. Yeah, they don't want a pound of weed. They want fucking 500 pounds, and they're so involved in fentanyl right now.
Well, and
if they catch weed with the fentanyl, they just kind of like, yeah, okay, but you're going down forever for fentanyl. So that's their new drug of choice. Cannabis is now a plant. We're seeing it. It's whatever. Whether it's going to go federally legal or not, the only thing that sucks is they need to fix the banking laws, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, let's get off that topic of the federal bullshit. So tell me one last thing. Plug your fucking shit for us again. Plug your Discord, plug your Instagram, plug your next lineage you're going to be throwing out there for everybody to see. And then, Big Earl, you know what time it is.
Yeah.
Well, Instagram is Magick.Beans.Seeds. My Discord is not really worth following. I'm just kind of like using it to trade stocks. What else do I got?
What's the next cut you got thrown out? The big one, the one that everyone's going to want. The money ball.
That's gonna be the Dogma Cross 2 Scooby Snacks, which is One Eye's cut.
What are you calling it?
Not archive seeds cut or seeds, not at all. One Eye's Scooby Snacks, very special.
Nice.
I haven't
One-eyed Scooby snack?
made a name for it yet, so I'm not gonna come up with one off the top of my head. But it's gonna be like super gassy, funky. A little bit of cookies, but like it's so different that I can't even really describe. Like I can't just say gassy and funky and OG cookies. It's gonna be different. It's really hard to pick, like only because Scooby Snacks is so unique. So hard to pinpoint like what it is. It's like spicy. Like I just can't nail the head on it. I just can't. But it's that worth seeking out because it's that unique and different. It's not going to be like anything you really have ever smoked.
Sweet. Everybody look out for that.
It's going to be pretty fucking
Instagram.
Sweet. And I'm not sure what I'm going to call that, but right now my favorite that I would look out is the Abbey Lane, which is what I described earlier, the key lime pie to the Sour 78 Dog Walker Pakistani. Like that's just crazy shit. It's just fucking wacky.
And remember, everybody, the Pakistani is a male on the bottom, right?
Yes. Well, actually, it's the Sour 78 Dog Walker Pakistani is the male.
Gotcha. Sweet. See, we learned something today, everybody out there in the world. Yo, Nick, appreciate you coming back on the show again, man.
Thanks
love it. You hooked us up on Discord. Thank you for that. Also made it a lot of fun that night for a lot of newbie growers and actually there was a couple OG growers on there too. They've been doing it for a while. So I was getting some DMs and everybody really appreciated you staying on for as long as you both did. Awesome. Appreciate it. So everybody check out Magick Beans on his Instagram. Look out for the new strains that are coming. And Big Earl, what time is it, brother? Don't forget what?
Don't forget your comment, guys. You always need your comment.
Always need the cow mag, everybody. Everybody out there in the world, all you breeders, all your stoner birds and potheads, we love you. Thanks for listening. Share the growth, the grow hour out there for you. Peace.